You managed to destroy one of the silver tyrants the Forge Masters unleashed on the lower district to keep peace after the perceived failure of the guard. You broke its shell, crushed it to pieces, only to find that beneath its cold silver exterior there's only more silver underneath. You didn't have much time to rest, however, as quite quickly after your victory, more silver tyrants were drawn to your location. You found a moment's respite only when you followed a dwarf down a tunnel rigged with explosives, which barred your pursuer's path. And this is where you are now, with the dwarf staring at you in the shine of his hooded lantern.
You're, not gonna live down here, are you?
I'm sorry, we're not gonna live?
You're not gonna live down here, are you?
No, we didn't intend to.
Good. I live down here. I can bring you to the bar. But, what do you want with him?
Well, we had intended to make sure he wasn't a threat to anybody. We weren't positive on how to do that, but we have some ideas.
Bar is a bad omen. Even when the others flee down here, city must have been worse.
Yeah, in some ways, I suppose.
I bet you're trying to live down here as well. They all are. That's why they're carving out streets in it. Why they're putting down the plumbing and trying to build a new city.
I suppose we would be interested in finding out more about that, yeah.
What's with the boar?
War's just been hurting people, trying to make sure it's taken care of one way or another so it's not harming anyone.
It looks hungry. Tried feeding it once, but it didn't care.
Huh.
So you've interacted with the boar?
Nah. Just put some stuff down and left. I watch what happens down here.
You happen to know more about those big old things back there in the pipes that they're laying down?
Didn't know much, but they don't care much for me living down here. Try to avoid them.
You said there were others who live down here? I think you mentioned some type of silver-handed lady.
He stares at you for a very long moment.
How'd you hear about that?
You just said it like 20 seconds ago.
I did.
I sure hope you did, because I don't know how else I would know it. Not okay.
There ain't nothing about the lady.
Well, you know, I don't think that we particularly like those things. Obviously, we took one down, so
You destroyed one of them.
yeah. If it seems we might be on the same side down here, we could probably help each other in some way.
you're looking for my help, what do you want?
Your name, for now, I guess, would help.
I don't have a name.
Then how are you called?
Nobody calls me.
Not even the lady?
How do you hear about that?
Well,
Edgar, does
someone
this,
told.
like, looking at him, does he seem like honestly confused?
Give me an insight check.
$15.
It's hard to read him, not because he doesn't seem like he's not being truthful, but mostly because he doesn't seem quite right in the head.
Okay.
But you can see him as he is talking, still sort of fingering the brooch at his shoulder.
And the brooch is the symbol of like the heart, but the machine heart, but it has like hands around it. Is that right?
Yes.
And we haven't seen ever seen this symbol before, have we?
You have not.
Okay. Those your explosives that back there.
Aye.
Seem pretty good with them. Did you make them
They're
yourself?
from mining. Found them. I have more. You like to see them?
Be handy. If you don't mind.
What do you
Wait.
want with them?
Mostly just curious. Don't really need them for or want them for anything in particular, but
I mean, they might come in handy if one of those things keeps following us again.
Yeah.
Still staring, he narrows his eyes, but he only really narrows one of his eyes.
You think you're being followed?
I mean, hopefully not right now, but it's possible.
They follow me sometimes. That's why I placed the explosive.
That's smart.
Aye.
but you know how to get around, so you haven't cut off any of your paths, right?
I keep to here, the deep tunnels. Only came up because of commotion. Saw you destroy that silver over there.
Yep. Yes, we did.
Do they care for them much?
I tried once with explosives. Didn't leave a scratch on them.
You tried the explosives on them directly then?
Somewhat. It's more close to them. Did not get close.
Play smart.
I don't think
Yes.
they appreciate me living down here.
I don't think they appreciate much of anything.
Right now, we definitely appreciate you living down here.
You're not also trying to live down here, are you?
No, we wouldn't want to invade your space. Simply visiting. For a brief
Good.
time.
Then you should leave. One more thing. You make it back up. Don't tell him about this here. We never met.
Our lips are sealed.
Right.
He
Fair enough.
turns to walk away.
Can you take us to the way out or to the boar?
The boar. I can take you.
What about to anybody else? Is there anybody else down here you can take us to?
Aye. Lots of things down here.
We kind of need patching up. You got a place we could patch up with some other people?
You have a lot of questions.
Well, I got a lot of holes in me.
Same here.
Looking for a
There's
way.
only the miners and those silver things.
Do you know a place that's relatively safe to sit for a bit so we could take care of our injuries
Yeah.
and be on our way?
He looks around.
Safe in the tunnels.
Unless the silvers break through the tunnels.
You think you're being followed?
Not at the moment, but
Then it's
Yeah.
safe.
But healing, you know anybody that does healing down here, you know?
Like the lady with the silver hands.
What about the lady with the silver hands?
Does she know healing?
Maybe. I didn't
Why
ask.
Yeah, why don't you take us to her and we can ask?
Nah, I don't think I should take you.
Well, it seems like you should.
You could bring her to us if that's better for you.
Yeah.
You're being awfully chummy for not wanting to live down here.
Well, talking to someone doesn't.
Well,
Equal
we
living
do
down
want to
here.
live. We do, you know. We don't want to die down here either, you know. I mean,
I can take you to the bar, but no further.
we'd appreciate that.
Guess it's better than nothing, but we'll definitely need.
if we help you with the boar, can you take us further after that?
I don't care for the bar.
I'll take that as a yes.
Just trying to live down here.
It's really impressive that you're able to live down here on your own. That supplies are a source of supplies.
We brought down
Trying
some
to learn the secrets.
No.
Because we
Just was
don't want to live
saying
down
it's
here.
admirable. It seems rather inventive of you, as someone who is rather crafty and inventive myself. I admire that skill in other people.
They won't catch me.
The silvers?
Aye. How do you know about the silvers?
We've seen them down here. Building horrible pipes.
I mean, don't want to sound like ungrateful or something, but why did you help us in the first place?
Because you were running from the silvers and you destroyed one.
Mm-hmm. Well, definitely
Really
big thank
Pretty
you.
appreciate-
sure they're trying to build a new city.
Huh.
But it's gonna be upside down. All wrong.
Why do you say that?
Why? They're putting down plumbing. I saw them put about down plumbing before. In the city.
This one's different. What makes you say it's upside down?
Well, 'cause it's underground. You don't build a city on the ground.
That's a good point.
You normally build them on the ceiling.
You normally build them on the ground, not underground.
Right. So, by upside down, you just mean deeper down.
I appreciate you asking questions about the city.
Well, mostly trying to make sure that if you don't want the city down here, that we make sure that that's relayed, that there shouldn't be a city down here.
City's only for other people. They don't want me living down here, so they don't want me in their city.
Well, that's a shame, because you seem a good sort.
I wish you best luck on your travels. But I should go.
Can you take us to the boar?
He turns to leave again.
The boar.
Hmm?
I can take you to the boar. Further down. Deep tunnels.
We'd appreciate your guidance. We could offer up some trade for your assistance and compensation.
If it's not out of your way, otherwise you can just go and, we'll go and maybe we go the same way, maybe not. It's fine, doesn't matter.
He raises up the hood of his lantern a little bit further to make a little bit more light.
Boar's this way.
Oh,
And he starts walking down the tunnel.
follow him?
Yeah.
Can I take out some chalk? While we're walking, like every now and then mark like a symbol on the path, on the wall,
Okay.
in case we have to retrace the steps.
How much chalk do you have?
10 sticks of chalk.
Okay. You follow this dwarf for what feels like hours through mining tunnels that eventually seem almost haphazardly, randomly burrowed through the ground. At some points, he takes you through cracks in the rock that seem more akin to natural caves than man-made tunnels. Until you reach an extraordinarily deep cavern and a cliff's edge.
Some time back, they burrowed down here, looking for mithril. Not deep enough, methinks. But down there, can see 'em.
He leans over the edge.
Can I glance over the edge as well?
Just over the edge, down about a 40-foot drop, lies a hollowed cave. The entrance to a mining tunnel, rail, coals, and the sniffling form of a hunched shadow.
Oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy.
Yeah, I'm not ready for this right now.
I
Such
mean,
a good find, Beggar.
It's beautiful.
it's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
just moving.
Oh, good.
That's very cool.
Well, that looks like what the witnesses reported.
Does
So,
it just stay
what's the
down
plan?
there?
Hey, sometimes it leaves, sometimes it stays.
Does it seem to want anything? You said you tried to offer it some food.
Well, when you get close, you'll see. It'll attack you. It's wild.
Have you watched it at all when you don't get close? Does it seem to do anything in particular?
I haven't watched it for long. It's a bad omen. Zora. But even it flees down here. So it must be worse.
What do you think is worse? That it's fleeing from?
I don't know.
I'll appreciate the assistance.
I'm still a little too beat up to try to take this on right now. Can we
Right.
go back somewhere a little safer, you know of?
Any good tunnels just a bit further back to take a rest at?
I could wait down here. But word of advice. Don't try to live down here.
No, just trying to get a full rest
Not a
up.
place for people like you.
It's fair.
Sounds like good advice to me.
Yeah. Does he show any indication of wanting to walk away at this point?
Right now he just sort of stands at the edge, looking down at the boar.
I could try and set up a spot to rest up here. Keep an eye on it. Watch it for a bit while we patch up.
Yeah, seems a little close to me, but I guess.
Still haven't told me. What's your actual plan?
A lot of it comes down to the creature itself. A bit of observation would help.
Yeah.
Well, I'm keen at observing things, but I'm observing it right now. It's just down there.
Well, how
We
it
know it's been
interacts-
killing the miners.
how it interacts with the physical environment specifically.
Been a lot of interesting rumors going on about it. So I'd like to.
Oh, I know.
Keeping-
I reported on them.
Right.
Phasing through doors.
Meaning that if it can do something like that, how effective would a physical attack on it be?
Right.
So, observing briefly while we patch up.
Well,
see if we can't.
I know you've modern physical, right? You did things to those silvers. Magic. Not quite
Yeah.
like the wizards, but
Right.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't have a whole lot of that left in me today, so gotta patch up and rest a little bit.
well, we can certainly wait down here, but What if the silvers are coming after us?
That's why I was asking this fella if somewhere was safer from them, but I don't.
Here, I know it's down like 40 feet and a little bit of a distance, but watching it, is there any like watching the way that its feet impact the ground? Like, is there anything different that would show that if it is how it's interacting with the ground?
Give me an investigation roll.
What? No, no. It is 21.
Its form from when you last saw it seems a lot more solid than it did then. But you can clearly see as it sort of snuffs and sniffles on the ground, you see dust in clouds disturbing a little bit. But as it walks around, each time its hooves sort of reach the ground, there's not a great amount of dust that this gets disturbed then. Almost as if there isn't a lot of pressure that is set down. And each time one of its hooves set down, it's almost like the matter of its feet just sort of begins swirling, like it's itself filled with a cloud of its own matter.
Do you think it would be able to come up here?
How steep is the cliff that we're on?
Very steep. About as steep as you see. So it's an incline of at least 70 or so degrees.
Difficult, I would imagine, for it to get up. It hasn't seemed to have shown any ability to walk on air, but it might be able to scale the wall. I'd be doubtful of it, but I wouldn't rule it out.
It's probably just acting off its instincts. Even if it could go through things, it wouldn't be used to going through things, right?
Depends on how quickly it learns.
Yeah.
So, we're taking a rest a little bit further back then, or what's the plan here?
So we can take a rest, at least a short one to start with. See if we can't patch up any of our injuries. And reevaluate at that point. I don't think any of us are at the peak of our health to go into an unknown fight.
Yeah.
Is there anywhere you would like to take us?
There's no response from the dwarf as he just still stares down there.
You know what? Might as well keep an eye on Brago, and Soleil just leans against the wall and sits down.
Kind of stay on the edge quietly and begin, if we can, to take a short rest. Whether or not we get to take a short rest, that's the intent, I think.
Yeah. Also, didn't he say, like, Brago was able to take down one of the silvery ones by itself?
No, he said the miners. He attacked them.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I remember. I remember.
Try and heal up while continuing to observe. Brago.
Okay.
Same
so
here.
Trying to take a short rest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
For a few minutes into your short rest, you see the dwarf sort of just pacing about, looking at the rock, before he starts wandering off.
Sort of want to follow him. I'm gonna look at everybody else and look at the dwarf and then look at everybody.
We could split up a bit if you want to.
I
Keep
won't
an eye
go
on-
too far.
Hmm.
Let me borrow the chalk.
Here, and I'll hand some chalk over to him.
I would like to follow the dwarfs.
Roll me a stealth roll.
Nice. 24.
How do you mark the way you're following the dwarf?
I think I'm probably crouched to the ground. So.
By the way, you have about 2 sticks of chalk left.
Okay. I think I just bend down and literally mark like whatever bare rock is on the ground. As I'm kind of crouched low to the ground anyway.
How long do you follow the dwarf?
Oh, I don't know. Let's say 10 minutes. I don't want to go too far.
At first, you follow almost identically the way that you came. You already see evidence marks of chalk along the walls as you follow. And then at some point, the dwarf takes a turn heading down a different tunnel.
Once I get to the end of the 10 minutes, if he's still going, I think I'll stop, look around for signs of any other recent traffic.
As the 10 minutes come to a close, the dwarf's taken a side tunnel, taken several turns, and then reaches this sort of natural cave. It almost looks like just a crack in the rocks, where this just massive cliff face goes all the way up into the darkness. And as you follow the dwarf, he starts climbing up this cliff face. This cave is probably just a natural cave. You see just the beginning of forming stalagmites on the ground, rugged edges of the cave, and naturally formed just rock debris. There's no sign of any other traffic nearby, other than the rock slightly disturbed by the climbing dwarf.
Okay. I will retrace my steps.
You return to the group?
Yep.
Okay. By the time you're back, about 20 minutes have passed. And the rest of you are still taking your long rest.
I will relay that information that I followed him and kind of odd natural cave. And then start my rest as well.
Be a way out or different path if we need to go that way.
Yeah, I'm curious about his pen. I mean, he had to have gotten that from somewhere. I'm mainly interested in finding him again if we need to find a way out.
Mm.
As
Just
you
gonna
rest,
stare
light.
intensely.
walks sort of almost wandering just at the edge, looking down at Braga, and then sits down next to Soleil, who I believe is still in his
Layer,
tabaxi.
layer form. Yeah.
So, have you been with Quartermains a long time?
What is this? An interview?
Is every friendly conversation you have with a journalist an interview?
To be honest, this is like the second conversation I had with a journalist. The first one was with you two, so it's not like I have a lot of experience with this.
Well, that's fair, you know. In a way, isn't every conversation you have an interview of sorts? We're all just trying to learn everything about this world, the people around us.
Well, I guess that's not that wrong.
There's something I've learned. It's that lies stack on top of one another. But they're not like stone. They're not like a foundation. They're more like cards. And inevitably, no matter how high you stack those lies, inevitably they all fall. And all that's left beneath the cards is the truth. So I prefer to be just open and honest with people.
Well, that's a good habit to have, I guess.
Of course, of course. Especially in my field. Well, you could argue that I've only chosen my field because of my disposition. Why did you choose to work at Quartermains?
Personal reasons. Very personal.
I understand. I won't pry. In your time at Quartermains, do you feel like they share your views?
Well, Soleil's gaze goes over the other members of the group. I'd say mostly.
Speaking about lies and cards closely held to one's hand, I believe we've established at this point, through association, that you were Blue Tiger, weren't you?
Well, I was many people throughout my journeys. Blue Tiger
So-
might have been one of them.
Why do you feel the need to hide?
Personal
None of the
reasons.
others at Evenfall hid particularly well at the Harvest Festival. Why did you choose to hide behind a mask?
personal reasons.
The same personal reasons why you joined?
Maybe. Maybe they're different ones. But they are very personal, nonetheless.
You've been traveling for them quite a bit then. Do you trust your compatriots?
I do.
Do you feel like they lie to you?
Can't say that, no.
Then here's what I don't understand. Your artificer seems quite guarded, so mistrustful.
Well, haven't we all been very distrustful of you, for example?
I've certainly felt that, though, as I've said, I don't quite understand why. I hold no cards. Not hidden, anyway.
So I'm just wondering why you would only mention her, since we've all been not very welcoming to you.
Oh, well, I've not talked to everyone, of course. It's partially why I'm interested in sitting here, but... Well, some of you have been quite open.
That is the thing I have
Doesn't
to
it
know now. Like, did
seem-
something like that happen while I was not there in the session? Did someone warm up to him or something? Or
I can't
Rex,
imagine
do you
who
wanna
has
answer
a
that
big
one?
mouth.
Salty?
I feel like that would be meta. Slay wasn't there.
I mean, just if it's something Soleil wouldn't have.
Slay wouldn't have.
Wouldn't
It
have-
was just him on his own.
Okay.
The closest association you would have would be that this morning, basically, when you came down to the dining hall,
Mm-hmm.
Red and him were already sitting there with Aelith and Reginald.
Mm-hmm.
Aelith was very not pleased, like visibly not pleased to have.
Look,
Looking
Aelith was
around.
the first one I didn't trust at all in this campaign, and by now he's one of my favorites. I love him. So yeah. So yeah, Soleil just looks back at him. Says, well, I wonder who that was then. But
It just seems to me like some of you want to be open, to not have all these lies. Doesn't it seem like she's controlling you in some way?
no, I don't get the feeling, no.
Just
We just
through
happen to have the
social
same.
manipulations and general. Usually these kinds of things are subtle. Would you cross her if what she wanted was different from what you wanted?
Like, Soleil is just visibly confused now. It's like I just don't know why you would ask these questions for someone who knows us for what now? Couple hours? While we've been together months or even longer now. This doesn't seem appropriate, and almost like you're trying to get something between us that isn't there.
Oh, no. I'm not trying to put anything anywhere. I'm just wanting to know. Like I said, The pursuit of truth is always at the center of my motivation. How much do you know about your companions? Since you've been traveling with them, you've undertaken a huge competition with them. The Harvest Festival was no small thing.
I mean, they've saved my life. I've saved theirs. Guess that's all
I know
that's needed.
quite a bit about the Quartz Silvers. They are a relatively heavy name in Polythreme. They're quite well known. But there is a level of mystery surrounding someone's death. Has she ever talked to you about that?
Real quick, Becca. They're like 10 feet away from me. Can I hear this conversation? How quiet are they being?
I don't know how quiet Soleil is being, but
I mean, Soleil is using his tone like on the same level as he would
Lake's
be.
definitely talking in a low voice.
Yeah, you would fit that just to also not to hide something, but more like not to like stop anyone from resting.
There's also, angry boar down there.
No, that's what I'm just double checking because they're like Soleil's like 10 feet away from me. I'm just curious how.
A perception roll.
I mean, honestly, she is probably mostly focused on Brago, so I would even say it could be a deception. Or a disadvantage. I'm just. Nah, she's like.
You definitely would have picked up at this point that they are talking,
That's fine.
but you wouldn't have yet heard any key words,
That's fair.
particularly, especially regarding to you.
That's okay.
So
What
she,
do you mean, death?
Well, it was quite the story back in the day before, there were so many other problems to be reported and unfortunately censored sometimes. There was a death at the Quartz Silvers estate.
Was it
Accidental.
someone from her family?
Supposedly. Quite closer, in fact. She's never told you about this?
He just shakes his head.
I would say it's certainly personal, but then again, you've stood fighting back to back. I wouldn't see reason to hide it. There was a lot
Well,
of
On the other
discussion
side, I
back
never
then
asked her about her past or her family, so I don't even know if she would tell me or not. It's just hadn't come
so
up
you
yet.
don't share things?
Well, when the time is right and it makes sense, we sometimes share things from our private lives, but it's not like we're talking about it all the time. We have a lot of work to do.
That's understandable. But a past makes a part of a person.
That we can agree on.
Without knowing really anything about her, are you still adamant you can fully trust her when she has herself seemingly kept the death of her husband from you?
Yes, I am sure. He says without hesitation.
I've been following her story for quite a while. I do that for a lot of people. People in the city that tend to attract trouble. And ever since the, you see, make air quotation accident, trouble seems to have been following her everywhere she goes. And then she begins associating with other people that are the same, that attract trouble. And if there's one thing I've learned in my many years, that people that seemingly attract trouble usually are also the sources of it.
Oh, they're just really, really unlucky.
There's a saying amongst the followers of Yoku that there are no coincidences. By that logic, there would be no luck or misfortune, but luck certainly plays a part in all of our lives. But when a pattern emerges that just keeps being the same, I think it's important to take a step back and just examine it closely. That's sort of what's become my job. When you worked for the Lord of the Lycan, shortly before you left the city with, I believe it was Ront or his brother Terran, one of the two, there was a fire, a minor fire, in the bowels of Polythreme. A few investigators went down there after it was quenched, but caused quite a bit of destruction, and what they found was remains of a stone structure, largely melted. Do you know anything about that?
Might be a confidential thing.
Confidential? So you know about it? Is it one of the cards you're keeping close to your hand? It's not personal, is it?
No, it's nothing personal. But still not something I want to talk about.
Okay, okay. Interesting, though. You know, there were never reports of what you call it, what do you call the war? I thought I heard you say something else once.
Me? Or someone else in the group?
Oh, well, it just seemed like you knew the thing more intimately than I even was familiar with it. I just feel like it would be prudent, seeing as we are about to face the thing, that we're all aware of everything that we can know about.
Well, all we know is just that somehow it has to be dealt with. It seems to have taken way too many lives so far.
What's curious to me is there are quite a few farms and arcologies directly surrounding Polythreme. And, well, there's laboratories and still some magical research happening in the upper and medial district. But the only sightings of the creature and where it first popped up seem to be the lower district. And if it is to be believed, of course, this is in front of a court. This would be hearsay, but there had been witnesses talking about a ghost before the first killings, shortly after this fire that I mentioned.
Well, the lower district is like huge.
Well, yeah, but where did it come from? It's not a natural thing in any way. How did no one notice it until it was in the middle of a city of millions?
Maybe because it's that, a city of millions. I wonder how much passes past the city walls every day, from smugglers to I don't know whatever else. I don't think a single
think-
boar.
A boar could be smuggled like that. This kind of boar. It's gone through windows and doors. Why would a crate keep it?
I don't know. I'm not magically versed, so I don't know if there are spells that could keep it in check, for example.
Well then, I hope you have some, because probably going to need them.
Yeah, and Saleh looks over at Ablin. And I trust her to have a good plan for this. And especially the word trust he pronounces.
Late gets up, and before he walks away, you see him reach for his notebook and just, as he stands there, makes a few notes, slides it back into his back pocket, and leans towards you for a moment.
Well, there's one thought that goes through Saleh's mind. That whatever ever happens to Saleh, his notebook should never fall into the hands of this reporter. His sketchbook. Because that reporter could have a lot of interesting material in it.
Well, I thank you for our little talk. I think it was quite productive.
You're welcome. I get the feeling you're not as terrible as we thought at first, but we'll see after that article of yours appears.
He moves across the open space towards one of the opposite walls, just sort of sitting back down, leaning against the wall, writing in his notebook. And a couple minutes later, your short rest would be over.
Some hit points.
Yeah, I already rolled them too. I almost needed all of my dice to
Yeah,
get
same.
back to full health.
You all did not get Song of Rest because I was being quiet because it was a board.
That's fair.
Mm-hmm.
Do you add the con modifier to that as well?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, late. Such trouble.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, this ape token is very disturbing.
But
You
what
can
about the
spin
apple?
it? You can spin it, and it always faces the same direction.
Yeah,
It's hella creepy.
every token does that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
It's just more noticeable
it's
sometimes.
just more noticeable with this.
Yeah, on the cutout ones.
We still have 8 up. Is that right?
I don't think
Yes.
so.
Yes. It should
It's
be.
like 8 hours, right?
Yep.
So how many more is that?
That was 20.
Okay, then I have to roll my last 2 dice to get there. No, last one was so low. I mostly got there. So, Evelyn, what exactly is the plan?
Well, depending on how it reacts to its environment is going to tell us a lot. So we might have to initially do a few general tests before fully engaging it.
Mm-hmm.
We'll wait to see if it gets closer at all. It's been wandering around a bit, trying to see if it can't quite tell what its purpose is in wandering. Doesn't really seem to be searching for anything directly. Not looking for shelter. Not looking for really food. It's not actively, it just seems to be sort of wandering, sniffing every now and then.
Seems to be kind of lost.
I'm going to move over to Fate. The cocos I gave you, I might be able to modify them to be able to see a bit further than the 15 or so feet. Can I see them?
Oh, of course. They are yours after all. He hands them back to you.
I'm going to sit down with them and kind of tinker with them a bit, while keeping an eye out on Brago at the same time.
You're not expecting me, I hope, to go down there.
No, but can't see down there as things stand. So it's at least if we're down there, you'll be able to know what's happening. I'll go back to tinkering.
Do you think it would be
Imagining-
afraid of fire?
Couldn't really say. Most animals have a natural instinct to be afraid of fire. But if it's overcome some way of being able to move through certain things, I'm not sure if it's also harmed by fire. It's one of the things I'm planning on attempting to work out if fire can even affect it.
It is quite interesting. Some of the ash that was found at the scenes of its attacks, it seemed like burned flesh. Organic, at least. But there was no fire at the scenes. I wonder if fire was involved in its creation, birth, whatever you would call it.
I suppose it's possible. I hadn't heard that theory yet. And I don't believe you included all of those notes in your articles.
Oh, of course not. They were important to the investigation. Not so important to know for the general public.
Good to know. I'll keep that in mind, I suppose.
I wonder if that means the holy water we got would be effective.
Also, a good thing to test out.
To counteract fiery nature or something? If it has a fire, I don't know.
Possible.
Hey, Red,
Uh-huh.
you mind giving me a quick deception check on that one?
On which part?
The fire in nature?
Oh yeah, I know what the fire was. Yeah.
That's
That is 100% certain where that fire came from.
naturalmente.
Yeah, that's a natural one. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, as you mentioned, the fiery nature, you almost stumble a little bit over your words. You catch yourself, but
Almost like the the fire, the fiery nature. Yeah. Totally didn't say cleanser's fire. Yeah, totally not. Oh my gosh, Retton's big now.
I'm gonna see if it reacts just a little, and I'm gonna pick up a pebble from the ground and kind of toss it down, like there.
okay. How big of a pebble? Just
Not much, just
Tiny?
like a tiny pebble. I just want to see if it responds to sound.
Oh, fine. You hear this slight as the pebble lands on the ground. You watch Brago carefully, but you don't notice it moving at all. At least not
Towards the sound.
towards the sound.
Pick up a slightly larger pebble. And do the same thing again.
Okay, this time you hear a little bit of a louder tuk. And this time, Brago does seem to react. It turns around almost startled, almost aggressively angry. And just looks in that direction, not moving.
And do the same thing again, but with a smaller pebble again.
This time, as the tiny pebble hits the ground with this, Brago just charges forward in a straight line to about where the pebble landed, snuffing around, and you hear this almost squeal as it just charges forward, almost like a growl.
Like to cast I'm casting spider climb on myself. And I'm gonna try and do something. Where I shoot my grappling hook up to a spot on the ceiling. Does it look like I could reach? Or is it too high up?
It's very high up in this cave.
Okay.
From where you're standing, it'd be there's ceiling closer to you, about here-ish.
Okay.
But as it opens up, it's at least 20, 30 feet higher up.
Is there any place like that looks like I could latch on to that's like slightly over the edge?
Yeah, it goes up at sort of an incline, so within about 20 feet or so, there would still be
Then
the ceiling.
I want to try and grapple towards the ceiling, but after hooking late to my arm.
Oh
Okay.
god.
And when I hit the ceiling, releasing the grip.
Okay.
Okay. Give me a quick grappling check.
Was that strength or athletics?
That is athletics.
Okay. Well, that's a natural 20.
So
Making it a
athletic.
21.
You see Late still sort of looking at his notebook, his quill still in hand, and very quickly you sling the line of the crossbow sort of just around him. You fire up, pulling him with you as you pull yourself up towards the ceiling. And then you drop him about 50 feet down, or would be more 60 feet.
Is that all you do? You just drop him?
I drop him.
She heard
And for
something.
the sake of turn orders and such, would everyone just please roll me initiative?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This is not something Soleil would have expected.
Just a previous conversation plays in his head.
I might not have heard the conversation, but I saw notes being taken, and I'm done with this guy.
Oh no.
I think it was also super obvious, Devlin, that someone has given away way too much information.
Yep. After that last comment, that was like, okay, all right, okay. I understand now what has to happen.
What have I done?
After which comment? Oh, the one. Okay, yeah. No, okay, yeah. The
So listen, this thing named Brago. By the way, Rhett totally said Brago. I'm like,
He
"Yeah,
did.
Oh,
He did.
oh.
He said it a couple of times, and every time I'm like, oh gosh.
Literally mentioned its name.
yup."
And okay, hold on. Let me roll. For
It's a character flaw. Okay, listen.
like 2, even though it literally doesn't matter. Okay, so you know let him fall, and
Without
see
a
his-
change of expression on her face.
you see his
Straight-faced.
eyes go wide as you're first. There's this obvious shock as you pull him up, and then his face almost goes slack, save for his just eye staring back at you as you let him drop. And there's just this, oh, before he just plummets down and slams into the ground. There's a very loud audible crack as he hits the ground. And immediately, even as he lies there and isn't moving, you just hear the just grunting the as Brago just charges forward and just starts ripping Late's body into pieces. And yeah. What would you guys like to do?
God. I mean, I guess it's Soleil's turn, so Soleil's like, what the hell, Evelyn, are you doing? And he just goes over here and starts shooting at Brago in a desperate attempt to somehow get it away from Late. And just shoots twice with his longbow. (26-28) to hit. Let's see if it does hit at all. Physical attack.
Roll me your damage.
Okay. Wow, such low rolls. 15 piercing damage.
Both of your arrows fly straight down towards the boar, and seemingly they hit. As they strike, there's no splatter of blood or anything like that. But as they enter, there's definitely a resistance there. It's almost like you're shooting something gelatinous. Your arrows slow. There's this audible squeak as the boar begins just sort of flailing about, trying to hit anything the air just with its spikes and tusks. Eventually, your arrows just sort of fall out of it onto the ground. But it definitely seemed to have felt it somehow.
And that's his turn.
Yeah, Evelyn.
She will grapple back down. Right, well, now we have some answers. And watch.
Damn.
God damn.
Yeah, he's like, dang.
Damn.
Pulls out the holy water and the like silver harpoon. Looks at Evelyn. Looks at Soleil. Walks over to this, or runs, I guess, but offers Soleil the like holy water to dip his arrows in? Question mark, or the harpoon? He doesn't know. That's his turn. He's just offering you things out of the background.
Kara.
Kara was kind of distracted during the whole rest. For the first time, really, she didn't drink anything during her rest. Just sitting there. So she didn't really see what was happening until, like, hearing the crack. So she just, like, gets up and sprints over. Like, Evelyn, what did you do? And I guess shoots two Eldritch Blasts at Brago.
Eldritch Blast?
Protecting you.
Yes.
Okay, roll the attack.
I'm protecting you. That's what I do.
Well, that's a 10 and a 13.
10 and 13. You see both of your blasts seemingly impact on the boar. You see the boar just recoil. Clearly, not really stunned, but staggered by the impact. But it doesn't seem to last long before he just starts flailing and grunting, looking around, searching for whatever is disturbing him.
That's my turn.
For a while, Brago just sort of, almost just like a flail, throws his head around into random directions before he starts sniffing the air. And then squeals loudly as his head turns upwards towards the edge of the cliff, towards you. Soleil.
So when I look at Late, does it look like just some pieces still lying there, or does it look like someone that might have a better time by chucking down a healing potion?
The second Late hit the ground, he hasn't been moving. His head sort of turned away from you. You can't really see his face. When Brago started sort of ripping at his arm, he hasn't moved. And he hasn't moved since.
So it probably already was dead when he hit the ground, basically.
Only like 60 feet for all damage.
It's fine for a civilian. By the way, you're trying to protect us from a civilian? And he still just goes for the holy water and dips his arrows in and shoots twice at Brago again.
A civilian that can do far more damage than you think. Eh?
23 and 29 to hit.
Both of your arrows strike home, and again, there's this almost gelatinous feel to this target visibly as your arrows strike home. Although this time, as your arrows hit, there's this almost hiss of steam for a moment.
Would be 19 piercing damage this time.
And again, you hear this deafening squeal combined with this low growl as Brago just paws the ground, beginning to wind up a charge.
He might be able to get up this hill.
Well, maybe you can distract him by throwing some more civilians into his way.
I hope that's an out of character laugh.
No, that was actually in. That was 100% in character.
The Soleil's comment. I'm sure it wasn't good. Absolutely not laugh, but I am very entertained. Sorry.
I am very entertained too, but like Soleil doesn't like this at all.
No. It's totally fair. It's totally fair. You're acting completely appropriately.
I love it. Don't get me wrong here, but but yeah, that's my turn, by the way. I guess get a little bit to the side so we're not standing at the same bit there, in case it just beams behind us and tries to throw us down there or
Oh my.
whatever. Oh my wa, exactly. Oh my wa, Mushinderu.
Wow. Evelyn. I
I
guess you can.
Hmm?
Oh yeah, no, we will keep turn order. You all have your turns basically together, anyways, but just for the sake of possibly interjecting actions, we'll keep turn order now.
That's fair. I'm going to try and hit it with a firebolt. I think. No, I'm going to shoot it with my crossbow. Twice. That is a dirty 20 and a 22 to hit.
Okay. Roll me your damage, please.
Alright. Do you need to know a difference between piercing and fire damage?
Yes, please.
Okay. There is 14 piercing damage and 6 fire damage. And with spider climb, I'm going to move to climb on the wall. Kind of out along the edge a bit, so I'm not right at the top of that hill. And
Similar how Soleil's arrows reacted. So do your bolts. As they pierce, it's almost like you're hitting something viscous or something that just very slowly slows down your bolt. It's not this immediate impact and stop. But as the fire sort of spreads for a moment, you hear this guttural squeal as Brago just flails, and he doesn't seem to be, winding up a charge anymore, just sort of begins running around.
Okay.
And then it is Red's turn.
I will set down the holy water beside Select. And I'll look for a place to anchor the chain that's on the harpoon. I guess. Actually, I guess over here, Evelyn would probably be able to help me with it the most if I need.
How do you attempt to anchor the chain?
Like looking for a stalagmite to wrap it around. The 5 feet on the end or something, I guess.
In this area, right here in this mining area, sort of, almost in this mining cave, there don't really seem to be stalagmites. most of the walls are relatively smooth, this, chipped rock from pickaxes. This was definitely part of what was created by mining. You could definitely find loose rock. There's a sort of almost crag to your left and to the right of the cliff where it turns more into this cave wall again, instead of where the cliff and the cave wall basically meet. If you were also looking for just loose rocks, there would definitely be a few around, though not many large ones like they are down there.
Can I just like spend my action to figure out a good way to secure it? I don't know if it's actually even reasonable, but perception or investigation, like trying to figure something out.
You can roll me an intelligence roll.
Okay. Just in case it comes up here, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, that's a 9.
9?
Mm-hmm.
You don't have anything immediately to attach your chain to. Nothing really to wrap it around, but possibly you could nail the chain somewhere to the wall itself with a spike or something. Or if you wrap the chain around a rock, maybe you could wedge it into this sort of cleft that's between the cliff and the wall.
I do have climbing gear, so I guess Rest's just digging in the backpack at this point. Trying to...
Okay.
Who knows?
The whole like pitten and hammer kind of a thing.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah, I think
Kara.
So we're trying to kill it with the holy water.
Really?
Is it an action or a bonus action to coat my weapon with the holy water?
The container right now is open next to Soleil on the ground. So it would be your free object interaction to just dip them before firing. Unless you were trying to like take it with you or anything. Do anything special.
No, just dip my sword into it though. I will. No, I guess I will just Eldritch Blast it. Or, I don't know how invested Kara is in saving someone. Yeah, no, she will walk over here and do the stupid thing of dipping her sword in the holy water and then jump down
Oh my gosh.
on top of Froggo.
Oh
if
god,
possible.
into the spikes.
If possible, hitting him from above with her sword. Or, yeah, well, diving her sword into him.
So you'll watch as you see Kara dipping the tip of her sword into this small container, just leap off the edge with her sword striking at Brago. And Kara, as you plummet down, as your sword hits the edge of Brago, you feel the blade almost like you're trying to slice through water. You feel it slow down, but not impact. There's this sizzle again, this hiss as the holy water begins to almost evaporate from the blade as it slices through this almost viscous form of dust and ashes that form Brago's main body. And hold on, I'm gonna need you to take some fall damage as you slam onto the ground, because there's very little resistance to stopping you from it. You take 15 bludgeoning damage as you land. And please give me a dex save to see whether or not you're prone or not.
$14.
You hear the short squeal from Brago as your blade slices through. Did you meet the DC?
I rolled a 14.
Okay.
So the sword doesn't do any damage.
It seems to do as much damage as the bolts did and the
Right.
Silay's arrows, but I mean, this thing doesn't seem to suffer that much from this damage. It certainly seems to feel the pain as each time it was hit, it squeals. And as there's still these embers from Eblin's fire on it, it just, even as you fall to the ground next to it, just begins charging the opposite direction.
Can I attempt to smite?
Squealing. As an opportunity attack?
Or with
Or
the
as an
Just
extra
attack.
when I initially hit it.
Not on this one,
Okay.
but
I
remember
mean, as an
those things.
opportunity attack, if I
You
can
could
make an
definitely opportunity attack.
I might.
I don't know. Can you smite as opportunity attack?
You can add it onto any attack.
Yeah. then
Yeah.
You could smite as opportunity attack.
Oh, that's a 19.
Yeah, certainly hits.
Okay. So that's 7 slashing damage and 15 radiant damage.
As it sort of thrashes around, turns around, and begins charging away, you slice from your... You are prone, by the way. From your lying position, just slice at its legs. And you feel again the hit softly connect. You see the flash of light from your smite, and as it sizzles, sort of blindingly flashing across the surface of Brago, as it charges away, you hear another squeal. And is that the maximum it can move? Yeah, that's the maximum. Yeah, it just runs. Salai?
I'm gonna do something that I would have done if someone hadn't dropped the reporter down there. From the beginning, I'm gonna cast Speak with Animals on myself. so I'll at least be able to understand whatever Brago might say if he's considered a beast.
Probably not.
Well, I can try.
Definitely.
And I guess I'm gonna try.
Let me quickly check. It's not telepathic, right? It's just...
No, it's just
Verbally
I gain the
communicating.
ability to comprehend and verbally communicate with beasts for the duration, which is 10 minutes. The
Okay.
knowledge and awareness of many beasts is limited by their intelligence. Brago, do you understand me? That's what I'm just trying to shout through the mind to see if there's any kind of reaction. And of course I'm also gonna listen to his noises he makes to see if there's
Mhm.
anything in there that might make sense to me. And that's my
As
turn.
soon as you cast the spell, as you shout out Brago, there's no reaction, but you hear almost muffled between this grunting and squealing. You make out almost less so an answer, more like short bursts of what would have been speech, essentially. You just hear
What burns? Is it you? Do you want something to burn? He just tries to like get some more emotions or single words out of him. And probably the rest of the group is maybe a little bit confused what Soleil is saying there. But yeah, that's
right
what
over
he's
there,
just...
Soleil.
Yeah, I can hear some words, some things Brago is saying. He just again and again mentions something about it burns, burn, burn. I'm just trying to figure out what he means. Maybe this way we can get a clue or hint of what to do. Yeah, that's his turn then.
Evelyn.
Let's see if I can't, like, any outcropping at all, like 30 feet-ish or so down, find a place to hook a grappling hook to get lower down.
Well, if you're going down along the wall, you can basically go down at any height.
Okay. Then, yeah, trying to go down with one grapple and then a second grapple to kind of like, or then kind of grapple to let myself down. The ground next to, wait.
You land at on the other side of Late where his face is pointing, and you see his eyes open, still bearing the same expression he had when you dropped him. And you can see that his neck is almost unnaturally twisted in your direction.
Can I see his notebook?
Yep, he's still holding it in his hand, almost clutching it.
And
It's almost bending in the middle.
with a free action, can I take it?
Yep.
Okay. That's my turn.
Not suspicious at all.
Is that your turn?
That is my turn. That's all I can do. My action
Red.
is my grappling hook.
I'm like, has everybody gone crazy? Slay's grunting, Kara jumped over the edge. What? I get on my broom, I take my backpack on the chain, and I start like flying down.
This is after you attach like the end of the chain, right?
No, I didn't get the stuff out of my backpack to do that.
Okay.
I didn't have time. So
You hear
I
the
got,
climpering of the chain as Red.
Yeah.
You see him just above you go over the edge, just flying on his broom.
Oh, you might be able to use that down here somewhere.
Okay, well, I have it. I just like land and look around. Look at Lay, look at Kara.
Don't look at late. It's for everybody's best interest that nobody looks at late.
Totally undecided on what to do. I like to spend my turn contemplating life, and that's
Okay. Yeah. So existential crisis is a bonus
Yeah.
action.
Yep. That's my whole action.
Counter spell.
Okay. And yeah, Kara, it's your turn.
Well, I will get a closer look at life. But
Nobody looks.
Burn it
Yeah,
burn it into your memories.
I guess I can now clearly see that.
He has not moved. He hasn't moved
even, like-
when his arm like got mangled.
Yeah.
He is most likely dead.
Yeah, just look at Evelyn. Just completely shocked. And then cast Eldritch Blast. I don't think that
Evelyn, no.
Evelyn. Oh no. Okay, you just shoot basically at the running Brago.
yeah.
Despite the darkness of the cave, Brago is still somewhat visible in the distance. You can still see this sort of trail of light from the embers from the fire damage that Evelyn dealt.
Oh. 9 and 26. So that is 8 force damage.
Even as your impact sort of almost moves the back of Brago a little bit, so almost causing a stumble in his charge away from you, he just keeps going.
How did he seem to take the radiant damage? The difference between that and force damage?
In terms of his reaction, there was definitely more pain when there was radiant damage, but you're not quite sure if that was just because there was more damage. In general, it doesn't seem like the radiant damage left any lasting signs. Any damage you've been dealing doesn't really seem to debilitate Brago as much as just pain.
Well, I'll just start running after him.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll be right back.
Then let's do like a 5-minute break, because I also gotta go pee real quick.
Okay.
And I'll be right back.
Guys, it's fine.
I love this so much. Like, Soleil is like, no doubt, I trust her. And the next thing she does is like completely make him doubt his trust. You know?
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
He was like, so what if her husband, like, if something happened to him, like, she maybe like be emotionally unstable, doesn't want to talk about it, maybe she's sad. He's like, what? She doesn't have to tell me that her husband is dead. Like, what is the problem here? Like, I'm trusting her, and immediately the one that told him that is murdered, and like,
Well, she didn't hear
Look,
that conversation.
my
She
intelligence.
saw the notes.
Yeah, still, my intelligence is 10, and even
Oh, yeah.
even that is enough to like make at least him a little bit suspicious.
No, that's fair. That's fair. To perfectly honest, Evelyn has already been thinking since the moment of inviting him down, like, if like too much gets out, I'm just going to make sure he never comes back up. But no, I'm like, well, she's seen him take notes. Timing wise, it sucks, but she's seen him take notes, and then like Rhett again says something like, "Yeah, the cleanser oil."
yeah, Red didn't help there, I guess.
So she's like, "Yeah, this is the perfect, easiest, cleanest way to take care of the problem."
Oh man, if this cautious man had told people, like, if I don't return, just so you know, I go somewhere with Evenfall, and if I don't return, you know who's at fault. And
Well, I mean, look, she can very easily say, without any lie involved, he fell and was attacked by Brago.
Uh-huh.
mhm.
That's not a lie. That is entire honesty. Nothing wrong with that statement. That is entire truth there.
And as soon as the
I didn't
question,
know
how
his
did he
gravity.
fell, appears.
I feel like it's pretty obvious. We were trying to get a closer look at Brago and understand him. And he fell. I need to refill my water. Be right back.
Okay.
Don't murder Evelyn while I'm gone.
Well, I don't think I could make my heart out of stone so much that I would just murder Ablin.
Especially not down here. I don't know.
Yeah, I would do it in her sleep. At home.
At home. Oh dear. I knew some confrontation was coming, I just wasn't sure that. I also have not the slightest idea how we could even take Brago's down. If he chose to fight us.
I am back.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome back.
I decided to kill Ablin. Just kidding.
Oh no.
I'm back too.
Bye.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all act like this isn't the first time Evelyn's cleaned up one of your messes.
Mm-hmm.
Faintly, and at this point, somewhat out of your sight, you hear shuffling and sort of the clacking of rocks, something. And slowly, the embers that had been giving off just a little bit of light seem to almost fade and glimmer out. But you still definitely hear Brago's presence. Faintly, you hear still squealing and grunting. Soleil?
I'm gonna jump down here. Ring of feather falling. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. That was with my feline agility. For my action, gonna use Animal Friendship. A spell that lets me convince a beast that I mean it no harm. If the beast's intelligence is 4 or higher though, the spell just fails. Otherwise it has to make a wisdom saving throw. Just to kinda calm it down and try and show it that I mean it no harm and that I just kinda want to help it.
As you get closer, you again hear this sort of almost. It's like you hear this bubble of whispers in between the interspersed, just. As if the spell isn't functioning fully correctly. And from your knowledge, you could roll me an Arcana check real quick.
Oh god. Arcana. Oh, I have no minus, that's good. Just a 0. 14.
From what you know of Brago, it most likely was a beast at one point, though clearly it has changed quite significantly. And you cast Animal Friendship. What is the DC for that?
Not very high, because I'm not a caster. 13.
It fails.
Ooh, the spell fails, you mean?
As you see Braga sort of push... No, Braga fails.
Oh, okay.
As you see Braga sort of attempt to almost push into the wall, you see almost half of it sort of vanish in the wall, but not go any further. Again, it reminds you of as if Braga was more of a fluid pushing against the wall, the rest of him just not passing through. And seemingly attempting to calm down a little. The grunting grows a little bit more quiet. It grows a little bit slower.
And yeah, Soleil just continues trying to sound calm and tell it to, we are here trying to help you. Tell us how can we help you? Just trying, and hopes his friends, because the animal friendship stuff is gonna be done as soon as it takes damage from my friends. So just hoping that they would at least calm down for a second.
Evelyn.
Seeing Soleil running off into the darkness. I don't think I could see him anywhere if I any luck over there, Soleil?
Well, I'm trying. It's kind of hard to get through to him, but
Right.
something is something's happening here. I don't. And yeah, that's.
I will move forward. 5, 10, 15. Right about here, and if I spot Brago moving to attack, or if he does attack, I will go ahead and shoot a firebolt at him. But I will hold my action until that happens.
So Becca, just a quick question, because it was really hard to hear from the voice modulator. What did the thing say? What did Brago say exactly?
You hear only the sort of shreds of words.
Mhm.
Sounded like, again, he said, burn, hunger, eat. It seemed pained, but other than that, you have
Okay.
no real indication. Definitely not speaking clearly.
Are you trying to go 40?
60. You guys have... Nobody has more than 60 feet dark vision, right?
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Just so we can easily attain how far you guys see. Okay. Red.
I think I eventually decide, since everyone seems to be running off that direction,
Mm-hmm.
bringing the chain along in that direction.
Okay.
Hoping this sleigh brought the holy water, but I didn't actually see that.
He didn't.
Well,
Pull up there.
oh well. I get to the point where I see Soleil. It seems like Soleil
Mm-hmm. You
communicating.
see, definitely not, in an aggressive stance. He's not aiming right now. He's more just holding his hand out towards Brago. And you would have heard him,
Yeah.
try to calm down Brago.
I will await instructions. Okay, that's it.
Kara.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna run after Braco and Chalet. What do we do? Can I look at Chalet?
Trying to get through to him. But he sounds terrifying.
Can you tell him we're here to help him?
I'm trying.
I will use my bonus action to heal him.
Okay. Please roll how much you heal.
Oh no, if this hurts him.
At least 2. 6 magical healing.
Both of you, please give me a perception roll.
Great, that does.
Damn it.
11.
9.
Kara?
11.
Okay. It's at first barely noticeable as Brago just sort of moves along the wall, still sort of almost pushing into the wall a little bit. You see that this swirl of ashes, even colored ashes that just keep form in the frame of his body. There's at the front of his mouth, at the front of his tusk, as you heal for 6 points, you don't see any immediate reaction from Brago, but suddenly there's this tink as something hits the rubble. As you can see that one of his front tusks, as the other phases through or sort of pushes through the rocks on the ground, the other tusk seems to now push the rock away.
That seemed to work.
Well, it certainly did something.
Well, that's my turn anyhow.
Okay. And keep sort of pushing along the wall. Its head now no longer can fully sink into this wall as the tusk, as it touches the wall, meets resistance. And instead just sort of drags itself along the wall, just not running anymore, but just sort of wandering again. Soleil?
I'm gonna relay information to Rat and Ablin. It seems that healing magic gives back part of its physical form.
That's interesting.
As
That would be
he
a way to cage it.
10, 20, 30 tries to get closer to Brago, just slowly approaching and like hands low to the ground and like, hey there,
Give me an animal handling
did
check.
that feel good? Is that helping you from the burning, from the pain? Animal handling.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I have at least a little bit of a plus there. Ooh, 21!
Okay. As you go low and approach Brago, it's still grunting, still sort of just rumbling. It doesn't seem to lower its head in an attempt to appear aggressive. But you can tell, sort of from the saliva dripping from its mouth, that it's possibly not pacified, if that is even possible.
And I'm still trying to get like some of the pieces that I can understand if something in there changes. I'm just trying to figure out like if the healing changes something of its feelings or words or whatever it's trying to emit there.
The only words you hear from Brago in between the squeals are... But other than that, there's no change, at least, since the heal.
Okay. Did I like actually use some kind of action? I think I just went closer and talked to it, right? Or did the animal handling count like an action or something?
That would have been an action.
Okay, cool. Then I'm just gonna stay where I am and listen to whatever it says. That's for turn.
Evelyn.
Um. I saw Soleil drift off to the side a little bit.
You can hear him, probably,
Okay.
talking.
Yeah. D, I see. I think it gets quite here. And again, I'm just going to hold an action to shoot a firebolt if it attacks Soleil.
Mm-hmm. Red.
I will follow the same general direction to the sea. And then, since he said healing does something, I don't know why we're healing it. I will give it a level 1 healing word. Ooh, for 8 healing.
Okay, as you cast Healing Word, again, you see this obviously very clearly, Soleil. You see the rest of the tusk sort of almost solidify up to its open maw, and part of its mouth also begins solidifying. But from Brago, you get no reaction at all as this is happening.
I can do a little healing, but if you want like a restoration or something to try to lift a curse or something, I don't have. I think I'm kind of tapped out right now.
It's okay, I could see it solidify even more. In this state, it shouldn't be able to pass through walls.
That's good. I think that's much.
Okay. Brago is gonna spend his turn just
What about
sort
my
of
turn?
standing there. Oh yeah, your turn.
Are we back to skipping
Sorry.
Kara?
Listen, God damn it. It's happening again.
Well, I will move closer to him and say, I can give it more healing, or I can try to cast some lesser restoration on it.
Could you please give me a quick animal handling check as you move up to Soleil?
Me?
Mm-hmm.
I can. Not good with animals.
Oh, you are!
17.
You are very good with animals.
You move slowly and you sort of move behind Soleil, almost, avoiding its vision. As you move closer, you see it grow a little bit more restless, but as you stop and stand behind Soleil, it doesn't seem to be aggressive right now.
Do I think I can move a bit further without it agitating it? As in dash to here.
hard to tell. We don't really know this thing.
Um. Yeah, I will try to move over here. Trying to almost walk away from it a bit, I guess.
Mm-hmm. You see no initial reaction, though you can tell that its head is following you.
I try to look at some threatening possible. And that's my turn.
As Kara moves past you, you can see Brago's head turning, sort of following her, and you, among the grumble and the squealing, you hear again. And it begins slowly moving towards Kara.
I'm terrible at this. Did you guys make out what it tried to say, or this piece of word there?
Eat.
Eat this, or what? Eat.
Just eat.
Eat. Okay.
Eat Kara.
It's your turn, Selene.
I'm just thinking, is there anything that might be interesting to give it to eat? I don't think so. Oh boy. Don't even talk about that guy right now.
I have wine.
I guess I approach it and try to kinda pet it and ask it, what do you want to eat? Very soothingly, calmingly.
I'm not gonna have you roll on animal handling because it appears to be completely ignoring you. As your hands begin to sort of try to pet it, it's almost like touching a cloud. Your hands just phase through it. And you feel this sort of almost swirling dust of ash and just dust as your hand just kind of moves through it, not finding any purchase to really pet, and Brago just keeps moving forward slowly, saliva dripping off of the piece of mouth that has solidified. You just hear
That's not terrifying at all.
It definitely wants to eat something. It repeats again and again, eat. That's what I'm trying to give as information to the others.
You could see if you got any scraps or if anything. Otherwise, maybe back up.
It's solid enough we could maybe trap it in here.
Yeah, I was able to... Well, touching is the wrong word, but I was able to get my hands on it and they basically went through, but it isn't attacking me. Maybe it likes angels. Could you come over here, Kara, for a moment? Just kidding. That was not in character. Yeah, that was my turn, by the way.
Evelyn.
Right, well, we can see it moving towards Kara, right? And outright ignoring Soleil.
Mm-hmm.
Unless Kara has something extraordinarily tasty smelling on her. I'm a little concerned about the train of thought of the creature.
Booze.
And I will again hold a firebolt if it goes to bite or attack anyone.
Rats.
I don't know. I'm gonna stay very still. And be ready to fly quickly on my broom and grab Kara. But I'm not doing that until...
Kara.
I will walk towards it slowly and try to touch the tusk that is solid again, or the snout if it's solid again. And then use my lay on hands to heal it for 30 hit points.
As you come closer, you hear this snarl as it sort of lowers its head for a charge. You grab its tusk, and you get the feeling that it's currently quite agitated now that you are this close, and quite aggressive. You cast Healing Hands, and almost the entirety of its head begins solidifying down through a lot of its torso. You see organs sort of solidify and form within this cloud of ash. But as you heal, you see no reaction to the healing from Bargo, and you still get this quite intense feeling of looking very tasty to him.
Hmm.
Good to know. Well, that was my action, so
It sort of almost attempts opening its mouth and moving towards you, but then suddenly meeting resistance as you still hold its tusk. There's this another of those just low squeals and grunts as it attempts to wiggle its tusk out of your hand, just sort of pulling back. Soleil.
Guess I'm just gonna continue doing what I did, just petting it, but now at the parts that seem to have solidified at its back. But just in case, as my action, I'm gonna hold. Or I want to hold my action. Oh no! I'm just gonna use the dodge action just in case.
Okay, roll me another animal handling check, please.
Five.
Your petting goes largely ignored. You can tell that it's clearly growing more aggressive with Kara so close. And in its huffs and its squealings, you hear its voice as well grow more agitated. You hear, "Eat, eat, eat."
Kara, don't think it's a good idea that you're so close right now. It gets more agitated the longer you stay close to it. I can
Right.
hear it.
Evelyn.
But I'm inclined to think that if we can heal it anymore, we might be able to keep it trapped easier. I'm disinclined to attack it, but I think our companions are pushing the limit a tad bit.
Maybe we could.
There's only... if it's wanting to eat,
Yeah.
either offer it food of some sort or let it eat. Otherwise, I feel like any damage we do might just bring us
Undo
back
what we've
to
already-
where...
yeah.
Right.
Right.
You
think we could seal off? I didn't really see the
I'm gonna
entirety of this cave, but
move back that way and see if I can't get a look at what's down the other hole.
okay.
And I'm just gonna kind of try and peer down this path beggar. To see if I can see at all where that tunnel's heading. I know I'm pretty far away from it still, but
Mm-hmm.
I can see like a
You
smidge.
see just sort of this stretch of tunnel going further into the dark.
Okay.
The tunnel seems to, at least for a while, just continue onwards.
Okay.
And that is my turn.
Red?
It seems to be okay with select. I'm going to like wave Kara over to move laterally so that I think I'm close.
Kara?
Yeah.
Don't know if I should cast Lesser Restoration on it. Probably won't do much. I might as well attempt it, I guess. Yeah, still holding on to its tusk, I'll just cast Lesser Restoration, trying to cast it through the gauntlets.
What is that, second level?
Yes.
Cool.
And if
Yeah?
just trying
sort
to
of initiate,
either
right?
yeah, no, just either trying to heal it more or lift whatever curse, or just
Disease, I think.
like lift the hunger, maybe? Like make it not
You
hungry.
cast Lesser Restoration and you can see its immediate aggression abates a little bit. It's relaxing its muscles a little bit. It's not shaking as much in your grasp, but it is still trying to sort of pull back from it. Soleil,
Yeah.
you can hear its voice again, slow a little.
After I do that, I will let go and just try to like quickly move here. Like slowly, but
Mm-hmm.
quickly.
Cautiously.
Cautiously, yes. And it's my turn.
As it moves forward, it still seems a little bit restless. It's not keeping still anymore like it was right in front of you, Soleil. But it sort of begins sniffling again around the ground. You hear this as it just sort of moves. And for a moment it gets a little bit close to Kara and Red, just sort of sniffing along the ground for continuing onwards.
Can I, by the way,
Slowly
use
walking.
my reaction for a pet of opportunity?
Yeah. You hit your pad of opportunity, but doesn't seem to react to it. And then it's your turn again, Soleil.
To be honest, Soleil is slowly out of ideas now. Doesn't really know what to do. Guess he just continues the thing that he's doing the whole time and just is like doing the dodge action again and just following it. He feels like calming it down doesn't really do much, like talking to it, so he just stays there and tries to listen if anything changes in the mood or in the words, and is just ready to dodge in case something happens. And that's his turn.
Evelyn.
I have a suspicion of where Brago is heading, but I'm going to continue to go 5, 10, 15, 25, 25. Looking around this tunnel, does it look like there's anything like that could be a potential weak point in the structure of the tunnel if we were going to try and like collapse it?
How much structural knowledge would you have about?
I have construction knowledge in general of constructing things and understanding general weak points, but as far as mining itself, probably less so.
So general physics.
Right.
Then please roll me an intelligence.
It's 18.
Unlike some of the mining tunnels you've seen, this tunnel looks largely unreinforced with these wooden cross beams and arches. If with enough force, you could probably bring down this tunnel, even though it's relatively well constructed. It's just this sort of almost half round tunnel just carved into the rock. Enough force would definitely bring it down, but you're also not quite sure the kind of damage it would cause in this case. There's not one weak point, not one piece where you could easily drop a load of rubble. You might, if enough force is applied to break the tunnel, also break the entire tunnel.
Okay. That's my turn.
Red?
I am going to slowly start moving up. And away from it. Once I get to here, I'll just take the dash. Take it to about there.
Mm-hmm. Kara?
I guess I will also just kind of circle around it. Just dash it there.
You can now take another pet of opportunity if you'd like.
I will.
Brago still is sort of shuffling away. And as he gets closer to the corpse of Light, you see him almost speed up a little bit. And then he begins eating. You hear very loudly this almost visceral crack of bone as he just starts munching on the corpse. And that's his turn. Slay.
I'm gonna get closer, but not close enough to see what's going on. I'm just basically closing my eyes and just listening to its rumblings to see if at least eating this somehow, yeah, does something or helps with our cause.
As it's eating, there's no grunting, no squealing. There's just this squelching noise and cracking of bones. It's actually quite uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Give me a quick wisdom save.
Let me see, what is my... not the best. 12.
12?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You feel a little nauseous from listening so intently to the sounds, but you try to keep any and all images far away from your mind as you try just to listen to the sounds the boar is making. Red?
Once I'm at the top, I land and I tell the broom to head back down toward Kara's direction. Because I don't think she would have a way to climb. And then I realize there's holy water beside me and pick that up.
You see the pot of holy water where you left it and send the broom back down. Kara, this broom begins slowly floating towards you, and it is your turn.
I guess I will grab onto it and fly up. Just
Anything else?
licking a Bragus back.
Yeah, it's not a pretty sight, for sure.
Yeah.
You can
Oh,
see the blood begin to pool around its mouth as you watch it eating. Evelyn,
Just kind of lands and hands back a red room.
you can give me a quick perception roll.
6.
You hear and see nothing in this long tunnel. Even as you would try to listen, you only hear behind you this squelching and cracking.
As
You're pretty
expected.
sure you know what's happening.
Yes.
Yeah, it just keeps eating. Soleil, it's your turn. You do anything, or do you?
I'm just can't see. I just see Red and Kara, so I'm just... Is Ablin still around here somewhere? I don't know what to do.
thought she was coming back up, but she's not up here.
Hey, Blen?
Mm. Yeah, I'm just over here looking down the tunnel.
Okay. Anything interesting there?
No, I was hoping to find a way to bring it down and collapse it so we could at least contain Braco.
Yeah, that kind of makes sense. So, we saw that healing, like, solidifies him, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, is that, like, our plan to, like, fully solidify him? And does that do anything? Does that help us with anything? I'm just wondering what we're doing here.
Making sure he can't escape, and then taking a step back and reevaluating.
Okay, then I'm just gonna keep an eye on him then.
Have any explosives?
I don't.
I've alcohol.
That dwarf said he might have some more, but that one's gone.
It
Right.
sounds like he might be entertained for a while. We could try to find the dwarf.
It might be enough that he stay here. I could do one thing that might keep him in place.
Well, come on back up when you try it.
Mm-hmm. Gonna take me like a minute.
We can let him let you know if he moves.
Then I guess when it's my turn, I will move here, and then it's gonna take me a minute to set a fireburst mine.
So 10 turns. Let's go.
Yep.
I do send the broom.
A fireburst mine.
It's one of my 3rd level spells, but essentially, if something comes within 5 feet of it, it'll set off after I activate it.
How much damage does it do, and what kind of damage?
It's 5d8 fire damage. I don't think I can do enough to bring down this actual. I can because I can only do it once. Because I only have 1/3 level slot left. So my thought being more that maybe it'll scare him away from the tunnel if he comes over here. I'm not necessarily trying to set it up in a way to bring down the tunnel. I don't think I can with just fire damage.
Mm-hmm.
But that it takes a minute to cast it.
Okay. Does anyone want to do anything in this minute, or are you guys just waiting?
Should I heal him more?
I mean, it would be interesting to see what happens if he, like, solidifies completely again. If you
I
can
do
do it.
a little bit more. Yeah, I will. I guess ask for the broom and like fly down and touch him, and I can give him 7 plus 6, so 13 more healing.
Okay. As you do this sort of fly-by touch heal, Brago doesn't seem to pay you any mind. Very intent on devouring what's left of Late. At this point, there's only like half a body left. It's not pretty. There's a lot of blood on the ground. And you see Brago continue solidifying to the point that there is only streaks of this ash swirl left. It's not fully solidified, but most of his form seems just to be solid now.
I mean, we're almost there, Red. Do you have something left?
Yeah, I was about to say I wanted to hold out, but I suppose I'm not getting near it though. Healing word for 70.
This is just Beggar's way of getting all our spell slots gone.
Uh-huh.
You can tell that some of the spikes along its back, some of the hair even, which looks very strange, and there's still a few streaks left where it's still ash, but it's almost entirely solidified.
I got like 2 left, but I'm not. We still gotta climb some kind of weird stalactite thing. Actually, I don't know. I don't know if you know how many spell slots you have.
You do anything else in this minute until Evelyn is done?
Do I have like a small healing potion or something left?
I have a healing potion. But feeding it would be a bit difficult.
Sprinkle it over the body.
Yeah, that was my idea actually. But like only if we have like a small one that is spendable somehow. Like that doesn't hurt us too much if it's used.
I guess it really depends on what happens.
Because
after.
because I just want to know like if anything happens. Like it would be like
Do you
sad
ask
if
out loud if anyone has a healing potion?
yeah.
Right,
I-
if you want one.
I have one as well. Yeah.
Me too.
Because I would just like to make sure we don't miss anything. So we should like make him completely solidified again, and if nothing happens, then we at least know, and we at least make 100% sure it cannot escape from here anymore.
Alright. I will give you one of mine. I have 2
Normal healing potions.
normal healing.
Of course, you want me to sprinkle it over the body.
Uh-huh.
Hey, the Dovas already did some healing. It's your turn.
I tried not to look too much, and try and sprinkle that healing potion over the body.
Things you never
You
expect
try
to hear in
to
D&D.
half look away as you... To be honest, there's not even that much left anymore. You see sort of half of the lower abdomen and one long leg just drenched in blood, what little clothing remains, with the rest already gone. And you empty out a healing potion over the rest?
Mm-hmm.
A regular healing potion?
Yeah, I guess you gave me a regular one, right?
Yeah, just regular one.
Okay.
Okay, roll the healing for it, please.
What is it, 2d4 plus 2 or something?
2d4 plus 2.
That is 8 healing.
You see the rest of Brago completely solidify. As with a loud crack, the last leg of Late vanishes within Branko's gullet. As it stands there, still sort of licking up the blood, whatever is left on the ground, you see, as its feet move, see them displace the dust. The gravel underneath its feet crunches. There seems to be real weight to its movement now. Its movement has slowed with this new weight, and yeah, it looks to be fully formed. More so even than when you first saw it.
Does it still mutter the eat, eat, eat thing the whole time?
It stopped muttering it when it started eating.
Okay.
Now that it's done, there seems to be no words from it at the moment.
It seems to be satisfied for now. At least it doesn't say eat, eat anymore.
Kara just grimly looks down on what is left of.
Yeah.
Essentially, all that's left is this dark stain on the ground, where the blood has seeped into the dust.
She will say a small prayer. Just kind of mumbling it under her breath.
And roughly now the minute would have passed.
Okay. And then I will back away and kind of along this line here, Beggar. Going across, I'm going to slowly sprinkle my last cleanser oil vial. Back and forth along here. My thought being that maybe the smell would also deter Brago from coming this way, since it didn't go so well from last time. And then I'm gonna climb along the wall and come up to the others. However many turns that takes.
Yeah. As Brago has mostly cleaned the blood and dust from the ground where Late fell, so I can remove him now. He's gone. He begins just slowly wandering again. Not pacing like the first time you saw him, just sort of slowly ambling about.
Do we want to help Soleil get back up here?
Yeah.
Send the broom to him?
Yeah, whenever.
You'll come back
Soleil
up
does
with
not
us,
want to return
Soleil?
with
Yeah, well.
Okay. We'll forego turn initiative for now. What else do you do?
Should we maybe find a place to set up camp of sorts?
Yeah.
Are you staying the night?
I think we don't really have much else option. It's going to be several hours at least traveling back. And there's several unanswered questions still that we have to work out and figure out what to do with Brago. But I know that I've about tapped out all my resources.
Really?
Yeah. Questioned is a good point.
I think we should camp in that big cavern.
That's fair enough. Lead the way.
I'll lead them back to the cavern where I saw the dwarf.
And while we're heading back, I want to take a minute to glance over the notes that Leia wrote in his journal, in his notepad.
I have my eyes on Ablin the whole time
That's
as
fair.
we walk there.
I'll give you more detailed notes
Yeah,
later,
just
but
general concept.
the last few notes you can see, for example, are in parentheses R confirms name Brago.
Hmm?
Then further down you see Tabaxi confirms basement as confidential.
Mm-hmm.
Knowledge present. And that's where the notes end.
That's fair. Kind of what I assumed I would see there. Then I will pocket it while we walk back to where Brett is leading us.
Yeah, Red leads you about 10 minutes down the tunnels until you reach on an offshoot as the marks that you laid back towards the collapsed tunnel. He sort of branches off to the side into a natural cavern with this large rock cliff leading up into the darkness. It's almost like a vertical crack in the rock, where at the sides, at least at one side, stalactites have formed. At the ground there's a few stalagmites around, and there's this almost sheer rock wall that leads into darkness. You settle in for a long rest?
Yeah, working on making space and I imagine getting bedrolls and trying. I don't know if we have supplies to try and make whatever we can to make the space comfortable.
I'm gonna draw more sketches. The first page is gonna be a sketch of the silvery creature we beat, and all three stages of its existence will be sketched down. And on the next page there's just he's just gonna draw a sketch of Light.
Dead.
Careful or Evelyn will murder you too.
Oh.
Is that in character?
Yeah.
So you basically look over his shoulder as he draws it, or?
Just seeing you scribble something into a notebook.
That okay. Not even what, just scribbling into the notebook.
Yeah.
Do you say it out loud so that Ablin can hear it?
Saying it in a quiet tone, but probably she can hear it.
She just continues setting up a bedroll.
So yeah, he looks up and looks at Ablin.
Right on hearing the comment, also looks at David.
She will spread out her bedroll, smooth it down, fluff up it like the head part a little bit for her pillow space.
And a little bit louder than Kara said the thing he just... So, we're not talking about this, Ablin?
What did you want to talk about it?
I always thought we worked as a group here, but I feel like the decisions that equal murder are always being made by you in the spur of the moment without asking any one of us. Was the last time the same back in the grove where we met Dava.
I do my best to protect you and this group, and sometimes that means rough choices, and I can handle those choices, whereas I don't believe that everyone else needs to have that on their conscience.
Even if you're the one who has to do it. This was a civilian. This was not someone that could have escaped us. You could have still brought it up. I feel like these are decisions
So
that are
you
not just...
Believe because he was a civilian that he was incapable of having any strength, power, abilities, and thus assumed he was weaker and couldn't escape us.
Yes?
There are plenty of people that are quite well at getting by, and sometimes never displaying their strengths. And if you assume that those strengths aren't there, then one day you might find yourself being caught off guard and being on the wrong end of a situation. Most people would assume me, based upon my size, my upbringing, to be relatively harmless. I think that you know that well enough. That isn't necessarily true, and I'm quite capable of handling myself. But it's the assumptions that we can make in people. The information that Late gathered down here. Do you understand what that could have done, Polythreme?
What? Tell me.
Right now we're working on trying to focus on stopping a war. We're trying to focus on what looks like some sort of infiltration of the city by one of these individuals from the Dominion. And to throw something in the mix that would completely tear apart anyone's trust, anyone's confidence in the council, in their leaders, right now would be devastating. We would be talking about a civil war, which we're already near enough to within Polythreme. Adding that to the timing of the war and the concerns from Antigarch, Polythreme wouldn't survive. And that's when you'd be looking at far more deaths than one individual. I'm all for sharing information, but there's a time and a place. And some people don't understand when that balance is.
Ask him if he understood. He seemed like a pretty sensible guy.
His belief system is that the truth should always be shared. That there's no reason to hide anyone's business, and that everyone's business is everybody else's business.
Yeah. He pretty much said that to me, to be honest.
Just because you disagree with his opinion does not mean you can just murder him.
We could have, just chained him down somewhere in Quartermains or whatever until this whole ordeal would be over.
And how would that look? When the article comes out, the Evenfall mercenaries who work in conspiracies blasting your secrets to the world? Salehi knew plenty about you. And that would have been printed as an expose of the Evenfall, and how he was kept captive and silenced. I understand. And you are completely entitled to every feeling of upset that you are. I have a different way of looking at the world and seeing what's necessary. And I generally do my best to try and express that. But I weighed the pros and cons in that situation.
What if the pros and cons told you that it was necessary to get rid of Evenfall?
Leave Evenfall?
To get rid of it.
If I had believed that was a possibility, I wouldn't have joined Evenfall.
I mean, things have changed. Things can change.
You just
You
think
can't
that...
trust me, I understand.
Not sure if I can trust someone who thinks their reputation is more important than a life.
It's not my concern. My reputation is not what I'm concerned about. But you all have secrets that do mean a lot more to you. And it's more the lives of the civilians in the city, of Polythreme, the innocents, the ones that are simply being manipulated, the ones that are simply trying to get by, that I weigh over the life of one single individual. If I could have spared him, I would have. But I didn't see a way that his life wouldn't end in the loss of so many more.
And since you couldn't see a way, you were pretty sure that none of us others would have seen a way.
You're generally kind people. And you care, and those are good things.
I can see how it makes sense, but Slade's got a point. That him and Kara probably should have got a say in it. How and when, anyway. Hope that it was worth it at least. That notebook shows you proof. Confirm your suspicions.
It does.
So, right call, maybe the wrong way of doing it.
I will do my best to not act too quickly next time.
And you can see Soleil going through his sketchbook, and I don't know if Kara is still standing close to him, so she might be the only one to see the page he gets to, but he looks at it for a moment, and it's the sketch he did when Evelyn shot the person in the grove. And I hope so too. I really do.
Anything else in the notebook that's helpful to us?
Not really. Mostly just looks like information on notes he was taking, bits and tidbits of conversations that we've had with him. All leading up to one big conspiracy theory. He's not wrong, he was intelligent. The problem is the motives. And believing that sometimes all truth should be shared when there's reasons for secrets.
Actually, I wasn't. I'm not even sure any newspaper would have printed this, seeing that there seems to be someone changing what appears in the news and whatnot.
Possible.
But I gotta admit, this was definitely the safe route.
I will do my best to include you in the future. I saw it as sparing you.
Kara just kind of scoffs and sits down somewhere away from Evelyn.
Evelyn will lay down on her bedroll.
You all attempt to take a long rest. After 5 hours, you feel this slight tremor, and faint there's the noise of this explosion that rattles you awake. You can complete another short rest, but unless you lie back down, your long rest will be interrupted.
Is 8 still up?
No, Aid wouldn't be up.
Okay.
I don't think. Would I be able to make a general assumption that that sounds like my mind going off?
Yes.
Oh, I think he moved.
So, do we need to move or what?
Be able to handle him right now?
I'm so tired. I was having another drink.
We might just have to lay back down and hope for the best for another few hours.
You guys rest, I'm gonna check on her.
I'll come with you.
I need my long rest.
You see the cavern sort of billowing smoke at the top. The entrance is engulfed in flames, still burning. And you see Brago inside the cave, on fire, running in circles.
Oh no! Oh no! Kara, I think there's not really much we can do here.
Yeah. I don't know if now we can kill him, or if he just would become a ghost again.
He's beggar. Looking at him, does he look like he became kind of liquefied again?
It's right now it's impossible to tell. He definitely didn't immediately liquefy. He looks still physical. He's stomping across the ground. He is still solid. It's just that his back is aflame.
Okay. So at least he appears to be at least partly still solidified, so shouldn't be able to go through walls at least. Let's go back
How's
to
the cave entrance looking? Is it still
There
open?
is a large scorch mark. There's a gigantic fire. You cannot see beyond the fire. It's just flickering flames all the way up. At the top, the stone is just smoldering and turning more black as the smoke just billows past it and into the top of the cave. In front of the fire, you see, other than black scorch marks, no particular damage.
Yes, let's go back.
Yeah.
You have anything to put out the fire?
Yeah, let's go.
You return to your long rest,
Yes.
and you complete your long rest.
Oh,
In the efforts of keeping it actually a short session, you guys wanna end here?
Yeah, that's fine.
it's fine. I don't wanna, but
It's
it's
where
fine.
we end today.
Well, guys,
you guys
it's
for the session.
fine.
Everything is gonna be fine. The only thing Soleil is thinking right now, or one of the many things rather, it's like, what if she ever decides one of us
Fair.
is the problem?
That's fair. That's fair.
Although we aren't as easily killed.
Well,
That's what
in
you
our
think.
sleep, we trust her, you know. There's just a dagger and some sleep necessary.
Rhett wants to judge her, but then he's like, wait a minute. He's like, I was terrible also. I can't judge.
Man, this was the first like actual murder that's happened.
That's
Like-
not. I mean,
Second murder.
You know,
it's
like
Yeah.
in cold blood murder. you
Yeah,
know?
this
I
was
also
more like
don't
the
think
first guy that was like really not evil at all. Like, maybe he
That guy
might
on
have
the
been
train
dangerous,
that
yes,
also
but
was
not
murdered.
evil.
Yeah.
I murdered that guy on the train, but that was more of like, well, you guys already half killed him. Let me just finish the job.
At least he was like actual like what was he, like smuggler, and like he was actually like not a good guy. But this guy, like, at least I mean I get the feeling that he actually wanted good. At least maybe it was the wrong time for us and stuff, but like he was not a bad person per se. At least I would say. So this feels a little bit more terrible.
A little bit more cold blood.
Way more terrible, to be honest.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. It is like the most openly
Oh.
cold-blooded she's been.
Hmm.
That was great though.
It was
Especially
very
since,
awkward.
like, Soleil was like, when
I was like, oh,
Yeah.
okay.
especially when you said that I'm gonna drop him, I was like, okay, she's gonna like scare him, she's gonna catch him right before he like hits the ground, she's gonna like try and see if Brago reacts to him. Like I like Soleil was completely, and also I as a player was sure that she wouldn't just kill him. So I was just like, oh, I'm interested to see what she's gonna do. Oh, she actually just dropped him. Oh. Oh.
The shock, I believe, was real. There was no
Yeah.
silence afterwards. That was just palpable.
Like I told you, the chances
Oh.
of this guy coming back from this tunnel.
When you said you drop him, I knew exactly. I was like, oh, okay. Roll the fall damage instantly killed him.
And it was right the time when Slay was slowly kind of forgetting about the thing that happened in the grove. So, like, he was like, okay, that was a one-time thing. It's gonna be fine. Nope.
Oh,
Raising the bar. Let's go.
damn. Nice. Good session.
Sorry. Sorry, not sorry.
Well,
yeah.
I know about
It's not your fault. It's
dead
totally my
husbands now, so that's a thing.
Secrets, man.
Oh, man.
Oh,
It's like, what?
how dare. Those weren't his to share.
Yeah, I mean, like, Soleil would have 100% ignored the whole thing. Like I said earlier, because he would be like, yeah, she's probably
Right.
just sad and doesn't want to talk about it, so let's just skip it. Why? I mean, he could have died anyway, you know? It's just sad. And now he's like,
But now,
Maybe he was on to something.